All right, my class, this is it. It's our finale for World Civilization 106. And I have to say that I've had many great classes. In terms of my 106 class, I feel like you guys have been some of my most enthusiastic students with these subjects. And especially for a cram course, I've just been really impressed with the quality of work that you guys have been sending my way. And I've been really excited to watch all of you become excited about learning all these things that you have. And I really feel that you guys have really learned a lot about world religions and world civilization. And um, I'm hoping that you continue to go along with this research. And um, I just kind of want to remind you to be responsible as your professor of just being cautious with this new information as well. And to remind us that I gave you a kind of cursory official history of the development of, these various religions and civilizations. And of course, you know, um, for example, for many, I talked about this with so many of our classes. Um, People are each going to experience their culture and their religion in a subjective way that doesn't necessarily always fit into the official narrative. Okay, um, you know, there are Muslims who have dogs as pets, and they're not supposed to, maybe according to those hadiths and Islam, but they might defend their position of having a dog and still claim to be devout Muslims. Um, and so, as we looked in history, as I told you, the idea of having portraits was officially not what was supposed to be there. And then we saw all the Ottoman and the Mughal courts having portraits. Um, and the same thing. Christianity did the same thing. Buddhism. Okay, all of these. So again, always just remember that there's official statements by governments and religion, by the clergy or the holy text, and then there's what people do. Now, for many, right, and that are religious, they will say, well, people are sinful, they're hypocritical, whatever. But I want you to get beyond just that and realize that, this is just how humans, I think, operate, in the sense that we have our official cultural ideals, and then we have our actual actions, and we don't always live up to what we say, and sometimes it's even more complicated than that. And for me as a historian, instead of just looking and saying, gosh, look at how silly humans can be, it also makes me say, wow, look how interesting we can be. Look how fascinating that we can look at history and see such a diverse set of ways of looking at things, and how things can be sometimes predictable, but also very unpredictable, right? And um, and now, as we look, especially with such cultural tensions between the issues of refugees, the issues of terrorism, meaning how the Western world thinks about Islam, the way that the Islamic world thinks about the West, and all these different factors, the unresolved problems of the Israel-Palestine conflict, which, these are not all things that I fully discussed or touched on. But again, it's, I'm hoping that you are actually able to come into this now with a rationalness that may help actually save our societies and our civilizations. Because remember, as war escalates and we have problems in the economy, when you see certain people do certain things that are crazy in the name of any particular ideology, we become afraid, and it's very natural to be irrational and to act emotionally. And I do feel like what I do, what I enjoy about teaching in this class is having the opportunity to help maybe preempt my students into being much more grounded and rational when times of extreme bad things happen, that we can have a little bit more clear-headedness, and that we can kind of come into the world always being able to offer our best even when times are their worst, right? And I really again appreciated having this class. And in terms of the exam, it's as simple and straightforward as I have it set up. I just want you to have an opportunity to write about your thoughts with a little bit of demonstration of some historic knowledge. But I always have this system in all my classes, which I reward you for your hard work. And for my online classes in particular, I give you guys a lot of work, and then if you can keep up, that's really just, that's what, and learn, that's my ultimate goal. And I think the reward should be is, hey, look, the exam is not the end all for you, but to simply kind of finish off a thought about a segment of the class. And this is your last thought. So 25-point paper. And as I've said in my other classes, you actually may have enough points that you don't need to take the exam, or to do all of it, or to do it well. And if that's the case, I don't take it personal if you want to get a 0 on it. What I'd like you to do is, if you are going to choose not to do the paper because you did the math and you are convinced that you can afford not to do it. Now I'm leaving that up to you, okay? You do that math on there, okay? Then just send me a note saying that, like, Mr. Pollock, I have a trillion other exams, a lot of things in my life. I've already, looks like I got an A. I'm not going to do this. Thanks. Just, give me that, and I'll put the 0 in and thumbs up to you. Okay. So again, that's your choice. Just to mention too, if I haven't put 0s in any of your assignments yet, I've allowed you guys to use today as the final day to turn in late work. So, if there's not a 0 there yet, that will change things this week when I put in the 0s, and so keep that in mind. So feel free to call me up this week. I work a 10-hour day tomorrow at my other job, but then I'm going to be free most of Tuesday. So feel free to call up if you need to go over anything for the final or any other questions about your grades, okay? And again, thank you for being such interesting, enthusiastic, and great students, and I wish you the best for the rest of this summer, and for your entire lives. And just know that I don't know if I will be in contact with you again, but if so, I will get you a beer, tea, coffee, or whatever you prefer. It'll be great to meet in person if that ever happened in some serendipitous way. But again, if not, just know I hope that this class will stick with you for the rest of your life in a very positive way. And thanks again.